Emotions, energy in motion, emotion, the energy of life. You know, Einstein said that everything is vibration and that everything is energy, but somehow we just don't collect that in our thoughts. And Dr. Max Pike said, everything is a vibration and its effect. All physical matter is composed of vibration. Now, since we are so geared to just think in the three-dimensional, we don't understand the quantum physics, that every single thing that we see as a solid is made up of small particles that aren't solid. In 1999, in Japan, to be precise on the 25th, Lake Biwa, it's a lake in Japan that was really stinky and really polluted. And Dr. Emoto, who was a scientist in Japan who has since died, he assembled a crowd of about 350 people. And he asked those 350 people to send positive emotions, energy in motion, at the water. And there were samples that were taken before the water, before the ceremony, and there were samples that were taken after the ceremony. And those samples showed remarkable improvement on the structure of the water crystals. And in another example of words, Dr. Emoto, and you could read this in his books, and you could read this as you would Google him, he did another study. But in talking about emotions and words today, how many times a day we throw our words away? We say things like, oh, I hate my hair. I'm so stupid. I wish I wasn't such a klutz. But we never stop to think that the negative energy in those words is vibrating and has a physical effect on us. Dr. Emoto's experiments were conducted with water, and the reason is because vibration travels through water 4 times faster than it does open air. Now, consider this, 75% of our body is made up of water. And when we send our thoughts, which are contained in the words that we say, the vibrations, and they're negative words, and they vibrate into our system, which is 70% water, then those negative words resonate within the cells of our body. Now, ancient scripture tells us that the life and death are in the power of the tongue. And I often say to you that the highest and the best way to raise our consciousness is through the power of gratitude. Another experiment that Dr. Emoto did on testing the word is he took 2 cups of cooked white rice, and he put the 2 cups in 2 separate mason jars, and he fits the lid in place. And on one jar he put, thank you, and on the other jar he put, you fool. And the jars were left in an elementary school room, and the students were asked to speak words that corresponded with the jars twice a day. And the students, to the jars that had thank you, they would say thank you twice a day to the jar. And to the one that said you fool, twice a day, they would say you fool. And after 30 days, the rice in the jar that was consistently insulted had shriveled up and turned into this black mass. But the rice in the jar that was thanked was as white and fluffy as it was the day that it was made. Emotions, energy in motion through the power of our words. Now, emotions are fast, and it takes 100 milliseconds for your brain to react emotionally, and about 600 milliseconds for our thinking brain, our cortex, to register this reaction. And by the time we're deciding whether we're going to get mad or sad or whatever, then our brain has already been expressing it 500 milliseconds. It's too late. Our emotional signal has been sent. It's like pressing the send button on the computer before double-clicking the contents and addressing it. Now, I often say that meditation, for me, is the difference between sending the send button on the computer and the delete button. This is why I meditate the first thing in the morning. It doesn't have to be a long one. It can be just a very short one of gratitude. Emotions, energy in motion. The number one emotion, how it starts, is we get into a bad mood. We have a mood. We get into a good mood. Those moods are changeable. Those moods are able to be shifted. Energy can never be destroyed, only shifted or altered. So when we come to a realization that we're having a mood, then that is the time that we can do the shifting or altering it. Because if we don't shift the mood, that mood turns into a disposition that we have. And we begin to carry that disposition for a certain amount of time, and that mood becomes who we are, becomes our personality. It becomes part of us. Most of the time, when we are having a negative emotion, we just shut down out of habit because we don't know what else to do. But when we can name our emotion, then we'll be more grounded. But how do we do this? Suppressing your emotions, whether it's sadness, anger, or frustration, or grief, leads to physical stress in our body. When you hold your emotions inside, it causes you to gain weight. It can cause memory loss. It can cause blood pressure, high blood pressure. And over time, experts have shown us that it can also increase the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. Gandhi said, your beliefs become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words containers. Your words become your actions. Your actions become your habits. Your habits become your values. Your values become your destiny. So, how do we control our emotions without stuffing them, without trying to pretend they don't exist? Number one, don't react right away. When something triggers your emotion, don't react right away. That's going to trigger you into some type of emotional argument, especially if you're with a spouse or a partner. Remember, I talked to you so much about breathing. And when we take that breath and breathe deep into our consciousness, into our emotional soul, which is right around the belly button, we take a moment, we deep breathe, and we stabilize the overwhelming impulse that we have to give somebody a new one or to flip them off. And as we continue to breathe deeply for just a few moments, our heart rate returns to normal. And our muscles become untense. And we become calmer. And we are actually able to affirm to ourselves that this, whatever it was we were feeling, it's just a temporary state of feeling. It doesn't have to last forever. Number 2, I mentioned meditating. Meditation trains our mind to be resilient. When we can learn how to stay focused on the lows and the highs of physical sensations and emotions and thoughts, the more we can bring each thing into this very moment. You know, Eckhart Tolle wrote The Power of Now. Now is the only time we actually have the power to change. Now is the only time that there really is. And when we are able to just with our mind bring our body into control through this breathing and through our mind, we are activating naturally our body, and it actually repairs, rejuvenates, and rebuilds itself. And once we come to this place, don't be afraid to put a name on your emotion. Don't be afraid to say, you know, I'm frustrated, I'm anxious, I'm impatient. Because when we are able to put a name on our emotion, it actually shifts from a state of irrational behavior to a state of rational analysis. Sometimes when we're angry, it masks itself as vulnerable or embarrassment or shame. But if we pay close attention to the breathing, to our breath, and to a moment of mindfulness, then we're able to really see what's going on. We take responsibility for our actions. We take responsibility for our emotions, because nobody can make you feel anything. It's always a choice. So there's a couple things I want you to try. But you'll notice behind me, one of my spiritual practices that I do is when I buy water, I will do a prayer and meditation over the whole case of water that I buy. And then when I come home, I do a prayer and I say, Dear God, dear Creator, dear love, what is it that I need to be conscious of my body? And I will take and I will type up a word like this is love, gratitude, joy, kindness, clarity. And each day, as I pull a water at random from the refrigerator and I look at the word, I'm conscious of that word in my body. Like, I'm conscious of every cell in my body, loving and accepting every other cell. As I drink this water, I'm conscious of love flowing into me and out of me. As I say often, you know, A Course in Miracles tells us that we aren't to seek love, but we're to seek to remove those barriers and those blocks that keep us from knowing love. So as I drink this in my consciousness, in my mind, and in my thought, as it's going into my body, the 70% water into the cells, into my mind, it's let me be love. Let me be the essence. Let me be the essence and the expression of love on this earth. As I drink and I pull gratitude, let me be grateful for this very moment that I'm in. So one of the things that I do is I check in. How am I feeling right now? If I'm having a hard time maybe feeling words, sometimes I just choose a song. Like Blue Moon comes to my mind. I realize I'm feeling blue at that particular time. Or on the other flip side, oh happy day, that my emotion is one feeling of happiness. And I find a song that matches what the mood is so I can identify it. And I practice not saying things like, I'm confused, I'm nervous, I feel terrified. I focus on the positive. Because when I recognize what the emotion is, then I go to the positive side and I begin to focus on that, because as I say often, what you focus on expands. Do you know, we're so focused now on this, on the shootings and the gun violence and the race violence in our country. Let's not focus on the problem, let's focus on the solution. If we focus on the problem exists and perpetuates. If we can focus on what is the solution in our addiction, opioid addiction, alcohol addiction, drug of all sorts addiction, if we focus on the addiction, we miss the recovery. What you focus on expands. I focus on my recovery. I focus everyday recovery and walking in a new life. And then I let go of judgment. No matter what a feeling I'm feeling at the time, I avoid judging myself. I avoid telling myself, no, you really shouldn't feel such a way. I acknowledge the feeling. I said, this is what I'm feeling. However, I'm now shifting that energy into a more positive way. So I want to say to you today, maybe you don't do the water like I do, but maybe just try cutting a little piece of paper, and if there's something in your body, a healing message you need, maybe write something like thanks, appreciation, gratitude, and just tape them to a bottle of water or to a glass of water. And as you look at the water and look at the words facing you, internalize what that is. I remember several years ago when I was diagnosed with the stomach cancer, and I went to the oncologist, and he told me I had stomach cancer, and I got several different opinions. And I said to the one, I said, you are in private practice, that is true? And he said, yes, why? And I said, you're still practicing. I honor the knowledge that you have, but I also am in practice too. I practice mindfulness. I practice meditation. I practice putting the thoughts that are in my mind into the container of words and sending them out into the universe and having them come back to me. I practice being the love of who I am. And as I say with each of my talks, and this one's being taped to you because I'm out of town, I'm on a trip this week, so I am not able to do it live. But as I say to you each Sunday at 2, kindness. Kindness is the language that the deaf can hear. Kindness is the language the blind can see. Be kind to yourself and to others. And I just feel like putting this one with gratitude in front of you. Gratitude will shift your consciousness. Gratitude will shift your emotion, energy in motion, from that low vibration to a higher vibration. Gratitude will attract blessing to you faster than anything that I know. An attitude of gratitude isn't something we just do, it's something that we become. Today, I am grateful. And in this moment, as we just take a breath, I'm grateful for you that watch me every Sunday. I'm grateful for you that are taking this journey of spiritual and personal growth with me. I'm grateful for the air that I breathe. I'm grateful for the light that shines on you and me. From my heart to your heart is a gratitude of love today.